movies and I have a complex relationship. The books kind of passed me by in the 90s because angsty teenage drinker was more into serious, pretentious fantasy at the time, so I never really fell in love with them and grew up with Harry, Ron and Hermione like so many other people did.
It was around my time. I remember the little book fairs that we had in elementary school, and I think the second or third book had already come out by then. I'm a 90s guy, and so, you know, they were getting popular by then, and I remember seeing them. But I always hated reading, and so I never got into them as a kid because I just enjoyed playing video games instead.
Likewise, when the movies came out in the early 2000s, I didn't have any context for whether they were faithful adaptations or not, and
Neither did I. I love the movies, though. I really enjoyed the movies. And so when they talk about how, like, which one was it, the fourth one, the Goblet of Fire and stuff, butchered it and stuff, I had no context for that. I just thought, oh, well, this is a decent movie.
I'll be honest here, the quirky, goofy, family-friendly tone of the early films didn't do much to win me over. I didn't hate them or anything, they just weren't really my cup of tea, so I was happy to let the fans get on with it. But I was always kind of curious, because nothing achieves that level of cultural impact without something pretty fucking special to back it up. So, a couple of years ago, I girded my loins, grew my beard, and finally made the time to read the books and find out what all the fuss was about. And damn, man, I believe that I finally understood the appeal of Harry Potter.
Yeah, I've read so far through the second book for sure. I think I started the third, and I put it down for several months now, but after going through the first two, yeah, there's some good stuff going on in there for sure.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling's absolute abuse of adverbs in her writing can be tough to get through at times. Watch out, Harry, Hermione shouted warningly. I'm telling you, man, once you see it, you can never unsee it.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that when reading that. That didn't really stick out to me. Now that he says it, I'm going to be listening for those adverbs and I'm going to see. It's like, do they use them a lot? I'm curious.
But overall, the series was an impressive feat of imagination, and in a way, it did make me appreciate the movies from a whole new perspective. Now I understood just how much depth, world building, and complexity they had to cut and condense to fit some pretty fucking enormous books into a 2-hour narrative. What I'm trying to say with all this push is that I greeted the announcement of a new Harry Potter TV series on HBO with about the same level of enthusiasm I'd welcome the installation of a new toilet seat. I mean, it is an improvement, I guess, but is it really gonna do anything revolutionary? Oh, this is the best shite I've done in years! On the plus side, all that extra runtime offers the chance to expand on stuff from the novels that either had to be cut or massively simplified for the sake of movie making, which is nice, I guess. Shit, man, it might even do my boy Ron justice this time around. Seriously, the Ron from the books is such a wildly different character from the film version, it's not even funny.
It's true.
He's snarky, he's quick-witted and assertive, he's angsty about his poor background, but he takes no shit from people about it. He argues regularly with Hermione, and he actually wins a lot of the time. On the other hand, I can't say I was exactly desperate to watch the same story get rehashed again, even if it came with a few extra bells and whistles attached. And well,
it's never gonna measure up to the movies. The movies is probably the most long-standing, faithful, consistent adaptations. They were solid too, mostly the same actors. They were all pretty good. I mean, even the ones that kind of dipped from the books, I mean, they're all beloved. They went on for a decade. I mean, it's just really solid stuff. And it felt British, you know, it felt unique, you know, it was different. And now with modernity creeping in and everything, like, it's going to be measured up. You should have just did it in the Wizarding World and did a completely different story. But now this new series, it's just going to be measured up against the movies, and it's all gonna fall flat. There's no way it's gonna be better.
There's the other issue to consider. The first Harry Potter movie came out a quarter of a century ago, and Hollywood is a very different place from what it was in 2001. But hey, it's happening no matter what some arsehole on YouTube says. And yesterday, the first trailer dropped for season 1, so what the fuck do I actually think about it? Well, this one left me feeling confused. Right off the bat, the tone of the trailer is bizarrely dark, serious and heavy, all muted colours and washed out lighting, and overlaid with that booming, ominous Hans Zimmer score that feels more like a grandiose, painfully serious Zack Snyder superhero flick than a whimsical kid's adventure.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed the music. Like halfway through the trailer, that's what started to stand out to me the most. I kept waiting for the dun 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 dun, or something like that. It was so bland. The colors are very bland too. And someone else pointed out, and I didn't even notice it, I don't even think they show any magic. Any magic in the whole trailer. Isn't that crazy? For a Harry Potter show?
Don't get me wrong, the intention's obviously to contrast the bleak concrete jungle of the Muggle world with the vibrant magic and colours of Hogwarts, but holy...
The color palette's still the same at Hogwarts. The colors don't pop anymore at all than when they're in the real world.
Shit, we're not launching into some deadly serious epic fan...
Look at that. They're all still kind of dark and mundane colors. I mean, there's a little bit more brightness
to see here. The John Williams score from the movies was absolutely pitch perfect for Harry Potter, combining intrigue and mystery with an undertone of adventure and danger, and just a hint of playfulness to remind you that yes, you're allowed to have fun with this one. The characters, on the other hand, are a bit of a mixed bag. The kids all look fine, I guess. The lead actor for Harry doesn't quite have the same spark and charisma that Daniel Radcliffe had, but I'm sure he'll do okay. Hermione is kind of meh. She doesn't have the bushy hair, or the buck teeth, or the pale skin that Hermione was known for, but, you know, apart from that, she's dead on, I guess. Aunt Petunia's been changed from a pretentious, upper-middle-class snob to what looks like a council estate chav for some reason. And yeah, I know that's gonna have Americans scratching their heads in confusion, but what can I say? If you know, you know. It does seem kind of strange though, because the Dursleys represented a very specific kind of conservative, middle-class British family that's obsessed with appearance and reputation, which puts them exactly at odds with Harry and everything that he represents. If you've ever seen the sitcom Keeping Up Appearances, you'll recognise absolutely everything about them right there. Actually, it almost makes me wonder if old J.K. Rowling was a fan of the show too. The reality though is that the casting in general is probably going to be compared unfavourably to the film franchise. Say what you want about...
Everything will be. Everything. I like most of the casting except for one very massive noticeable exception.
The movies, but the actors they managed to assemble for them were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, where else are you going to see Alan Rickman, Maggie Smith, Ralph Fiennes, Gary Oldman, Jason Isaacs, Brendan Gleeson, Michael Gambon, and John Hurt in the same fucking movie? Somehow, I don't think Nick Frost and John Lithgow are quite on the same level.
Yep.
Anyway, enough about that bullshit. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Draco Malfoy's hair. Seriously, what's with the fucking Gen Z bird's nest resting on his head?
I didn't mind it. It looks like it looks like a pompous, like pious kind of cut. It's a little bit old school to be sure, but that fits the setting. You know, it looks like a rich kid's haircut.
He looks about as intimidating as Patton Oswalt. Oh yeah, and Snape's in the trailer as well. And I'll be honest, I think the casting department did a great job with this one.
Right.
Apart from the hooked nose, the greasy straight hair, the thin physique, and the pale sallow skin, he's the spitting image of Snape from the books.
Really?
Joking aside, race swapping such a prominent character that was clearly described as white in the books and was played to absolute perfection by Alan Rickman in the movies was a pretty dumb decision because ultimately it's just going to overshadow everything else about it.
See, that's the thing I was thinking of. It's not like casting it out of nowhere to where it's just like, okay, well, there was never any idea or image of what this character previously looked like. You know, say like Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury. It's like, okay, there was an image in the comic books, but there was never an on-screen type of presence that anyone ever remembers. If there was any TV show, no one ever watched it or anything like that of Nick Fury. And Samuel L. Jackson completely encapsulated the role, like he captured it, it's just like, this is a pretty good Nick Fury. It felt, different, and it was like, man, this is good, so no one batted an eye. Whereas with this one, not only do you have a very detailed description physically of his physical appearance in the books themselves are extremely much more well-known and have a much more dedicated fan base than any fan base to Nick Fury. Yeah, there's Marvel fans, of course, dedicated Marvel fans, But there's no like subsection of Marvel fans that are just like, oh, we're the Nick Fury fan base. No, like Snape is a massive character, you know? And then on top of that, you had a decade long of him being played in these roles in the movies, perfectly cast. And we fell in love with this other character. So we not only have the books with this massive character who's specifically described, but also we have a decade long of movies where we have seen him and we see this person, we know that's Snape. So you have such a massive uphill battle to climb. It's not just like you're coming out of, like, yeah, we're just referencing this one little material, but this guy's casting, you know, his acting, he really felt like he could portray. No. It's just like, this is so blatantly like, whoa, like, that's the guy, you know? It's like insane. Bellatrix, by the way, Bellatrix, I don't know how you're going to get someone. It's all going to be compared to the movies. What an amazing casting for Bellatrix.
This show, it's basically the only thing that anyone's talking about right now, and based on the ratio on that first trailer, the talk has not been positive. It's also exposing the actor to a lot of hate that he absolutely doesn't deserve, and for what? What does all this accomplish, really? Is it going to improve the show? Will it get more people to watch it? Or does it just become a convenient shield to hide behind so you can dismiss any and all criticism, no matter how valid or well-intentioned, as nothing more than ignorant bigotry?
That's what it always becomes as. That's the only reason, really, they mainly swap races. It's not like they care. It's not like they're like, oh, we care so deeply for black representation. They say that, but it's never about that. It's so that they can use them as human shields.
There's a reason most fans let out a collective groan these days every time a new remake or reboot of an old franchise gets announced. It's because the culture that allowed the original versions to get made the way they were just does not exist anymore, and what we get instead tends to be a lazy, pandering, badly written facsimile of it. We've seen it in just about every other IP that ever got treated to a modern remake, and it would be a real shame if we saw it again here.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Unfortunately, that's probably what's going to be. I mean, there's other cracks in the stuff in the ceiling that we see. I don't blame the actor, per se, Papa Estudio, or whatever weird name he's got. But whenever he does start coming out and talking about, like no one should send him death threats or anything. Like, everyone's pretty collectively in agreement. But for one, if they do, maybe don't make a big deal out of it, because every single person in any kind of position of authority gets death threats, especially something like this. And then for two, you know, trying to use it as like this propaganda. It seems like I saw a few comments of him basically mentioning it and just being like, you know, like, oh, well, I don't know if it was him or the article that was writing about him. I was like, oh, it's racism and stuff. And that's what they want, just so that they can immediately start throwing that stuff out before anything comes out, so that they can cry victimhood. Then, you know, throw shade. I mean, you deserve it. But up until that point, you know, I don't think most people even blame the actor for taking the gig, to be honest with you. But it's just really stupid. We'll see how it goes. I mean, everyone's going to watch it. It's going to be very popular at first. How many people are going to stick around? Once we actually see it come out, what is actually going to be good and what's going to be bad. We'll see. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Completely free. Just got to make a YouTube account, which is also free. Goes a long way in helping out the channel, and I do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Till next time.